Welcome everyone, join us today as we delve into the life and career of Alan Lancaster, the thunderous bass player and co-founder of British rock giant Status Quo, who helped shape hits like Down Down, Caroline, and Rockin' all over the world. So let's dive in. Alan Charles Lancaster, born the 7th of February 1949, in Peckham, London, in England. Born in Peckham, South London, Alan grew up in a warm and supportive household where his passion for music took root early on. He attended Sedge Hill Comprehensive School, where in 1962, he and fellow student Alan Key teamed up with another classmate, Francis Rossi, to start a band. Originally brass players in the school band with dreams of forming a swing group, the trio shifted gears when Key and Rossi had access to guitars at home. Inspired, Alan persuaded his parents to buy him a bass, and together they formed a group called the Paladins, not the Scorpions, as is often mistakenly believed. Soon after, Alan Key left the group and was replaced by keyboardist Jess Jaworski. A young army cadet named John Coghlan joined him on drums, and thanks to a gig secured by Alan's father, the band played their first paid show in October 1962, at the Samuel Jones Sports Club in Dulwich, when most of them were just 13. Not long after, Roy Lyons took over on keyboards, almost completing the lineup that would begin the journey toward rock history. While playing another local gig at a sports club, the band caught the attention of manager Pat Barlow, who offered to take him under his wing, with Alan's mother giving her blessing. In 1965, the group landed a summer residency at Butlin's holiday camp in Minehead, where they crossed paths with Rick Parfitt, then performing with a cabaret act called The Highlights. On the 18th of July 1966, the band, now known as the Spectres, signed a 5-year contract with Piccadilly Records. That same year, they released 2 singles, a cover of I Who Have Nothing, and an original penned by Alan, Hurdy-Gurdy Man. A third single, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, followed in 1967. Unfortunately, none of the tracks made it onto the charts, but it marked the beginning of their journey as recording artists. In 1967, the band began shifting their musical direction toward the psychedelic sounds that were taking over the era. They briefly adopted the name Traffic, but after a dispute over naming rights with Steve Winwood's newly formed group of the same name, they were compelled to rebrand as Traffic Jam. That year, they landed a coveted slot on BBC Radio's Saturday Club, but their latest single, Almost But Not Quite There, written by Francis Rossi, failed to gain traction. Soon after, at the suggestion of manager Pat Barlow, Rick Parfitt was invited to join as rhythm guitarist and vocalist, bringing fresh energy to the group. With Parfitt now on board, the band underwent another name change in August 1967, settling on the title that would define their legacy, the Status Quo. But later, just as Status Quo. Status Quo scored their first major hit in 1968 with the psychedelic single Pictures of Matchstick Men, written by Francis Rossi and inspired by the artwork of L.S. Lowry. It reached number 7 in the UK and became their only top 40 hit in the US, peaking at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Although their albums continued to be released in America, the band never matched their UK success there. The follow-up single, Black Veils of Melancholy, failed to chart, but later that year they bounced back with Ice in the Sun, a pop track written by Marty Wilde and Ronnie Scott, which reached number 8 in the UK. All 3 singles appeared on their debut album, Picturesque Match-Stickable Messages from the Status Quo, released in September 1968. Around this time, the band brought on Bob Young as roadie and tour manager. He soon became a key collaborator, co-writing many songs and often joining the band on stage with his harmonica. After Spare Parts in 1969 failed, Status Quo shifted from psychedelia to a heavier boogie rock sound, swapping trendy outfits for their signature denim and t-shirt look. This new direction began with Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon, and the single Down the Dustpipe. After keyboardist Roy Lyons left, they continued as a 4-piece, with future member Andy Bone occasionally joining in. Their next releases, In My Chair and Dog of Two Head, marked the transition. In 1972, they moved to Vertigo Records, releasing Piledriver, which hit the UK top 5 and set the tone for future albums like Hello, their first number 1, Quo, On the Level, and Blue for You. A 1976 Levi's sponsorship and their live album cemented their popularity, though critics often dismissed them as one-dimensional. In truth, Alan, Rossi and Parfitt were all strong songwriters and vocalists, Rossi's nasal drawl, Parfitt's grit, and Alan's deep, versatile voice. Alan, in particular, blended hard rock with tenderness, penning both heavy cuts and ballads like Blue for You and Ease Your Mind. Influenced by Cream, Led Zeppelin, Free, and the Beatles, he shaped his bass playing around melodic, powerful lines that gave their music real weight. Status Quo's hit singles from this era, with peak UK chart position and year, include Caroline, number 5 in 1973, Roll Over Lay Down, number 10 in 1975, Rocking All Over the World, number 3 in 1977, Whatever You Want, number 4 in 1979, with Down Down topping the UK singles chart in January 1975, becoming their only UK number 1 single to date. For a time, Status Quo seemed unstoppable, tight, precise, and massively popular. But behind the scenes, tension simmered, driven by fame, drugs, and clashing personalities. John Coghlan was the first to crack, walking out during a 1982 rehearsal in Switzerland and not returning for 3 decades. Pete Kircher from Honeybus took his place. Meanwhile, friction between Alan and Francis Rossi grew, both unwilling to compromise. Things came to a head during the making of their 1983 album Back to Back. Alan hated Rossi's pop-leaning track Margarita Time, feeling it undermined the band's rock credibility. Another dispute followed over Alan's own single Old Rag Blues. The ongoing strain led Rossi to declare the upcoming tour would be his last, and after the 1984 End of the Road tour, the band effectively disbanded. They briefly reunited in 1985 for Live Aid, urged on by Bob Geldof, but relations further soured when Rossi and Parfit secretly recorded a new album under the Status Quo name, without informing Alan, who had since moved to Australia with his wife Dale. This move deepened the rift and left Alan feeling sidelined from the band he helped create. After relocating to Australia, Alan found success with a fresh musical chapter. In 1987, he joined a revamped version of the Party Boys, co-producing their self-titled album, which went platinum. Their single, He's Gonna Step On You Again, topped the Australian charts for 2 weeks. The following year, Alan launched a new project, The Bombers, which landed a record-breaking advance from A&M Records, reportedly the largest ever offered to an Australian-based act at the time. However, momentum stalled when A&M was acquired by Phonogram shortly after the band completed its debut album. The Bombers initially featured Alan's former Quo bandmate John Coghlan on drums and opened for major international acts including Cheap Trick in 1988, Alice Cooper in 1990, and Skid Row in 1990, during their Australian tours. After the group split, Alan teamed up with John Brewster of the Angels to form the Lancaster Brewster Band, which also saw singer Angry Anderson make guest appearances. He later created Alan Lancaster's Bombers, releasing an EP and touring across Scandinavia before calling it quits in 1995. In addition to band work, Alan scored the theme song for the film Indecent Obsession, and produced a platinum-selling album for acclaimed classical pianist Roger Woodward. In 2010, Alan reunited with Francis Rossi in Sydney, sparking rumours of a Status Quo reunion. While initially dismissed due to concerns over Alan's health, he later made some improvement. In 2013, fans were thrilled when the original Frantic Four lineup, Alan, Rossi, Rick Parfit and John Coghlan, officially reunited for a series of sold-out shows. Alan also featured in the 2012 documentary Hello Quo. Despite signs of physical frailty, Alan joined the group again in 2014 for another successful tour, with his vocals warmly embraced by fans. His final performance with Status Quo took place on the 12th of April 2014 at the O2 in Dublin. On a personal note, Alan was married twice. His first marriage was to Pat, a former typist, with whom he had a son, Alan Jr., but later divorced. In 1973, while touring, he met Australian dancer Dale Thurbin. The two married in 1978 and went on to have 2 children together, Tony and David. Sadly, on the 26th of September 2021, Alan Lancaster passed away in Sydney, Australia, aged 72, following complications related to multiple sclerosis. He was survived by his wife Dale, his 3 children, Alan Jr., Tony and David, and 5 grandchildren. And there you have it. Though Alan Lancaster has left us, his legacy lives on in every Quo riff, and every fan who still rocks out to their classics. A true original of British rock, Alan's contribution to music, his loyalty, passion, and resilience, will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.